Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
A question I like to ask everybody, because I'm just intrigued as to how you got through and survived and whatnot, is how was your pandemic season? How was the last few years been for yourself?
Um, yeah, it's been all right. It was tough, like as it was obviously for everyone. I had like a my daughter, she turned one at the start of the pandemic, which was like quite it's quite tricky looking after a 1 year old when you can't go anywhere or see anyone. Like they need constant attention. They're not like old enough or interested enough to like plonk them in front of the TV for a minute just to entertain them. So yeah, it was pretty full on. But at the same time, like it was awesome because I was around. I wasn't on tour for like first few years. So and I had a second daughter in 2021. So in that respect, it was cool to like just be at home for that whole period. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Well, congratulations
Yeah.
on your
And
second child as
very
well.
thank you. And very like productive in that I did like two Architects records and wrote and recorded the Sylosis record. So there was a lot of writing and recording going on.
Was it tough doing the architect stuff and the Sylosis stuff at the same time? Or did you just alternate as and when?
Yeah, no, it wasn't too bad. I mean, we were, just like not on tour, so it was quite easy to just flip flop and have a lot of time. Sylosis stuff was kind of like always ticking over. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm always writing nonstop, really.
No, fair.
Yeah.
Also, before we get into the nitty gritty, I saw a video of you on stage at Trivium doing a gunshot to head trepidation with
Oh
Jesse
yeah,
from
yeah.
Point to Serve. Fucking amazing. How was that?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was really cool. I went to the Oxford show because I pretty much live in Oxford, near enough, or outside Reading. And I obviously Ali is in Bleed From Within, who were on that tour as well. So I went and hung out for a bit. But it was mine and my wife's anniversary, so we were actually going out in Oxford for dinner. And then yeah, I saw Matt briefly because we toured with Trivium about 10 years ago now. And I was like, oh, I might come to another show, and he just said, oh, come and do a song. So yeah, it was cool. I was really it was a lot of fun because I haven't played a show in a while, and it's definitely a bit different for me being up on stage without a guitar, but I enjoy it.
That's awesome, man. Right. I want to go further back, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
What actually made you want to be a musician in the first place?
Um, I can't remember anything too specific because I was just sort of always around it. So my dad's just like a huge fan of music, just like an obsessive music fan collector, but not a musician um
Okay.
at all really. He had a guitar in the house, but he didn't play it. It was just something he got, and maybe he knew like a few chords, but he never played it. But I would bash away on it. Yeah, no, I think it was just my dad playing music a lot in the house, and I was just always around music and interested by it. But there wasn't like one band or one musician. To be honest, the person that made me want to play guitar was my next door neighbor. He was like 2 years older than me, and my sister's year at school. And I went to like some school performance thing when my sister had started secondary school, and he was just playing electric guitar on his own. I was like, cool. So I think that was part of it. Yeah.
Was there any influences for you growing up, or as you got older, that have influenced Sylosis?
Yeah, I mean, my influences haven't really changed, if I'm honest. Like, I got into metal pretty early on. Um, and funnily enough, with this record, I you see some people saying that it's like more modern, or maybe they're assuming that it's like there's some architects rubbing off. But this album's actually the closest we've been to how we would have sounded when we first started. But when we first started the band, we were like 12 years old or something, and we didn't release any music for the first like 4 years. But at that time, when we were 12, it was all about like Pantera, Great Southern Trendkill, and Slipknot, Iowa, and I mean, we were listening to everything, like from Hatebreed, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse. But yeah, this record's definitely, the focus was a bit more on like the intensity and that sort of youthful energy and that sort of excitement that we got from metal. Like when you're a kid and you just start discovering all this heavy music and it like makes you feel alive. Um, so like my influences and stuff like pretty much stayed the same. Like I love Metallica, Pantera, Slipknot, Slayer, Sepultura, all that stuff from like the mid 90s and stuff.
Yeah, the golden age when all
Yeah,
those were coming through, like, and then the new metal scene hit in 2000. You just like, fucking hell, they're like, there's so much from everywhere. It was great.
yeah.
Lyrics wise, then, are they quite personal to you, or are they story based, or are they a mixture of both? Like, what do you tend to go with?
Um, it's a mixture. There's definitely nothing like that I would describe as story based in that I've like made something up, but there might be songs where the lyrics are more, yeah, just not about me personally. Like there's like some songs like about like eye for an eye, for example. Like I guess religious hypocrisy, especially a lot of the lyrics are coming from like the obviously it was written during the pandemic and when all kinds of things were going on, like socio-politically, environmentally, and stuff. And I just always find it fascinating when you get these like right winger, like ultra Christian groups that are like really hateful. It's like, how do you not
Yeah.
get that you're like? So that's an example anyway of a song that is lyrically has nothing to do with me, but it's not like a story or anything. It's not like made up. And then there's a song like Absent, which is like a lot more personal, and the title track, A Sign of Things to Come, it's kind of just about mid-pandemic and the anxiety around like what the future holds and stuff, and like a lot of things coming in socially or politically that seem a bit like worrying, and then like climate change stuff, and it's just that sort of sinking feeling of like what is happening. So that's what
Yeah.
like the title track's about. And I wouldn't say that necessarily sums up the album. Originally that wasn't going to be the title track or the name of the album. But yeah, I kind of like that it kind of, although that's what the song's about, it also feels like Sylosis is back and we're going to be doing more and be more active. So it's kind of like doubles up in that respect.
Yeah, I thought the album was fantastic from start to finish. Like, it was really. I'm not saying that because you're here, Josh. I genuinely like. I actually
Thank you.
struggled to pick a favorite song because I was like, everything's got something different. It was. I picked Pariahs in the end, but still,
Okay, yeah.
every track I felt was a bit different to the other. I was like, this is just fantastic. And I also love the fact that guitar solos are back.
Oh, they're
No one,
everywhere.
yeah, no one. I don't feel like anyone really does them anymore. So I thought it was great. Near enough every song, I was like, "Oh, fucking right, we
Oh,
love a
every song,
solo."
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think I could ever write a song that didn't have one, to be honest.
um, has the album been well received though?
Oh yeah, it's insane. It's been really, really good. Like I think people the general consensus is that it's our strongest record. And I think like we've just put more more into this one than we ever have. I feel like we had, put a lot in the past and paid like a lot of attention to detail, but until this one, it was like, okay, actually, this is what like hard work on a record really feels like and looks like. We wanted to make like every song could be a single, whatever that might maybe, even if it's like a super heavy one or whatever, it could be that song that like grabs people. Um, and we wanted to focus the songs a bit more, but not necessarily like leave behind what we're known for, which is like tons of riffs and like keeping things interesting and technical at times and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you feel that it's one of your strongest because you had the time to work on it because of the pandemic?
Um, yeah, yeah. Like time was definitely a big factor. To be honest, like a big factor was our manager. Like he was really quite brutal with me after Cycle of Suffering, the last record, and was just like, you could be you could be like reaching another tier. Like you haven't really made your finest work yet. You're sort of he sort of said that the last record didn't have enough like defining moments on it, like enough stuff to like grab people that, oh, that's the bit I can't wait, or I can't wait for them to play that song. He said it just wasn't. Um, I don't know, but that was kind of like difficult for me to hear at first, and I was like, I don't know. I thought it was a good record, but now it took me a little while to sort of like reevaluate and take a step back from Sylosis and sort of like realize that a lot of what we'd been doing was either because I'd boxed myself in and set up a lot of very strict parameters around what we could and couldn't do, or just got used to like wanting to always avoid like the most obvious or thing that other people do because it might be a bit like cheesy if we did it. Whereas I don't know, like I love really anthemic heavy music, and the anthemic side of things wasn't something that was like too present in Sylosis before.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, it was a combination of like a new mindset, a new approach, and the band's manager sort of really pushing us and just being like, you guys could be doing like a classic metal record. You could do a record that's going to be like defining. It's just you haven't done it yet. So that really like ignited a fire under us to try and do that, to try and create a solid metal record like Far Beyond Driven or the Black Album, where like every song is like a banger. So that was a big focus for us for what we wanted to do. But at the
Yeah.
time, like having an extra year was handy.
How long have you been sitting on it?
Um, well, we wrote it 2020, 21, recorded 22. So yeah, I guess it was done in like November of last year. It was like finished.
Is
So
it,
a while.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things you're like, I just want to get this out and I want people to hear this.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard it a lot
Yeah.
by this point. Yeah. Like I would listen to it for a while, then I'd like check in, like, and be like, "Oh yeah, cool, yeah, can't wait for this to come out," and yeah, put it down again.
I mean, obviously, we're talking about like the fact that you wrote it in the pandemic and everything. Is it almost a case of having all that time to work on it? You could either overdo it in a way, so you could listen to a song, go, "Oh, that's great. Actually, I might take that out," and it gets to a point where you start like going, "I might take. Oh, actually, I might put this back in. I might take that out though and change this." Does that ever happen? Or
Um, to to a degree, I feel like once you feel like a song's in the right place, I think it's um you sort of know, and we're good at sort of leaving that in terms of the song.
yeah,
But you can definitely, or at least in my case specifically, because I mix the record, like when it comes to mixing, I could like just go around in circles with that stuff all day. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm just going to try a completely new guitar sound, or like try a different snare or something like that. And that would be something that I could drag it on and on and on. So yeah.
well, anyway, you dropped 3 singles:
Yep.
Deadwood, Poisons for the Lost, and A Sign of Things to Come. Do you struggle to decide what single to release as singles? Because obviously, like I said, with the album being as good as it is, were you finding it difficult to go, I might should put this out, put that out? That's a banger.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, I think we were quite lucky that we could mostly sort of all agree on what songs were going to be the contenders, which was quite lucky between us, the band, our manager, and the record label. Um, I think there was a bit of like back and forth. I think like maybe Ali or the band maybe wanted Poison for the Lost to come out first before Deadwood did, but yeah, I think for the most part it's pretty good. Like we all were on the same page. But yeah, like the intention was for it to be difficult, like to have every song be a potential single,
Yeah,
or to treat the songs that way, like when we're writing them, to give them like the same sort of, if you're thinking, I don't know why we never did this too much, but I guess certain albums it makes sense. But if you think about a song like this is going to be the first song people hear off the record, we need to impress them. We'd never had that approach before in records where we had that approach to every single song. sometimes we're like, oh, this is going to be an album song. It'll be a cool one, but it might be a bit self-indulgent here. It might go off on this little tangent that if it was a single might lose people's attention, but we like it. Whereas this time around, it was like, no, let's just be ruthless. And yeah.
Nah, decent. It's great. I mean, but you mentioned the previous album just before, but like, what actually sets this album apart from the rest?
I mean, that to be honest, like this is the most like free we've been in terms of doing exactly what we want to do and like just not caring how it might get perceived by fans or whoever. Like we just wanted to make sure it was serving ourselves. It's the most concise and focused record we've done. And we've also never done a record that's just 10 songs and would fit on one single vinyl disc, which is something that we wanted to test ourselves with. And yeah, I think even though musically it's nothing like Sylosis at all and didn't influence us in any way musically, we sort of looked at the Turnstile record that came out, I think in 2021, and obviously captured people's attention. And it was like solid tracks, and it was only 10 songs, and it's just like, oh, just leave you wanting more and that sort of thing. So, um, yeah, we were like, yeah, let's do 10 songs. Yeah, we've never done like one very common critique of the band in the past was like the length of our records, which is something that for me personally, I didn't really mind because like if I was like a kid tidying my room listening to Metallica and I was listening to Master of Puppets, if the CD stops, I'm just going to put Injustice for All on right after it. So like having an album that's too long, like why does that matter? If I'm listening to the band, I'm just going to put on another album. Like, but I get some people's reasoning, and I think it makes sense to yeah not outstay your welcome, especially in today's like day and age with people's attention span not being what it used to be.
Oh yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Because obviously, back in our generation, obviously, like you say, it was I used to listen to Slipknot loads. So it'd be like first record straight on. As soon as that's finished, I will go straight in. You know, you
Yeah,
can listen to it for ages. Whereas now it's like that album was great. What's next? Like,
yeah,
well, hang on, it's been out a day. What do you mean?
yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. But obviously, you're going off on tour in November, UK and European, starting in
yeah.
Glasgow on the 7th of November. How excited are you to get back on tour?
Oh, very excited. Yeah, we haven't toured since 2016, so it's
Oh my
been a long time
days!
coming. Yeah, we played like a handful of shows, maybe like four shows since then. We did a big comeback show for Cycle of Suffering, February 2020. And we are like, this is it. We're going to be back. We're going to be touring. And then pandemic hit. And then we would have liked done more, but I think getting the record done was really important. And just like biding our time and really focusing on the record was worth it in the end because I think it's a strong one.
No, absolutely. And do you struggle to write a set list now with everything you've got out?
Um, Sort of like, especially if it's like a support slot. Obviously we've got a lot of like diehard fans that will be coming to see us, and you want to appease them and play some other songs. But admittedly, like the new album, more than anything we've ever done, was like written to play live, and it's gonna, I think, go down better than anything we've ever done live. You know, like it's a lot more fun and like energetic musically. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of new stuff coming live.
Ah, excellent. That sounds great, man. I'm looking forward to it. And finally, before I let you get out of here, a question I like to ask all musicians I speak to, which is music videos, and I mean making them, producing them, etc. Love them or hate them?
Um, I love them. I think, yeah. Sometimes it depends on the video. Like we're just like in the process of making one, and I think it's going to be the best one we've done. But it's sometimes it's tedious, you know, just doing the performance stuff. And in the past, you know, I feel I've been quite hands on with. We've got a director that we've just used for everything now, who we get on with that has a really good artistic vision. So yeah, it's I feel a lot more at ease knowing that the final product's not going to be crap, because sometimes they come out bad. Yeah.
So no, they're not so prominent so much anymore. Music videos. They used to be like the rage back in the day, and now it's just put a lyric video, it'll be fine.
Yeah. To be honest, it's especially like I don't even know. I was trying to speak to the director of the day. I don't even know if like Kerrang TV or Scuzz TV are even a thing anymore, or if they are, do people still watch them? I genuinely don't know.
Scuzz isn't a thing anymore, but Kerrang still is, I think.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean with YouTube now, I mean like that's where people are watching everything, isn't it?
No, exactly. Josh, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you chatting to me tonight, and I wish you all the success with the album going forward and with the tour in November.
Cool, thank you very much.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.